Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So on today's video, I'm going to help you understand whether you should be investing in the market right now because the markets are almost at an all-time high. So how should you process this? Because if you keep on waiting and if the market keeps on running, then you will just kick yourself, right? यार कर देना चाहिए था invest, इतना नुकसान हो गया. On the flip side, if you become too aggressive right now when the market is at an all-time high and the election results do not come out as per the market expectation, there can be a healthy correction. So it's very important to go back to basics and understand 8-10 key points so that you can make better, more informed decisions. This is going to be a fundamental analysis. I'm going to speak about certain stocks also, but please do not consider it as a recommendation. I'm just simply bringing it up as examples. Yes, I am putting my money behind them, but this is not a pitch that aapko bhi karna chahiye and all that stuff. Okay, so this is a learning video. So anyways, the first key point that you must understand is the amount of loss that you will incur in case you miss the rally and bhai sahab yahan se market agar badhta chala gaya. And the fundamental point that you need to know is that, see guys, there is a very strong healthy correlationship between the GDP of the country, this red line, right, and Sensex pakad lo ya Nifty pakad lo. There is very, very healthy correlation between these two lines. Okay, basically what you would notice is कि जो red line है वो इस तरीके से कुछ जा रही है and the blue line is actually more accentuated, so it's growing faster. So what exactly is happening, and is there a relationship between GDP of a country and Sensex? And by using this math, can we predict where Sensex or Nifty will be in the next roughly 10 years? Okay, so I can do that for you very, very quickly. See, number one, the relationship between GDP and the stock market of a country, be it Nifty 50, Sensex वगैरह, is very, very strong. There is approximately 80-85% correlation between these two things. ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता कि इंडिया की GDP grows from $4 trillion where it is currently today to let's say $10 trillion and the stock market remains there only. It is not possible. Okay, and opposite would be the case that if our GDP shrinks, then of course even the stock market will shrink. So there is a very, very healthy correlation between these 2 points. Second key point कि अच्छा ऐसा क्यों है कि the Sensex is more accentuated compared to the GDP here. Okay, the reason is that our GDP is basically an approximation. GDP comprises of unorganized sector in India and organized sector. Organized sector मतलब जैसे यार ये IT jobs होती हैं वगैरह वगैरह, those are organized. Unorganized are कि जैसे कोई समोसे कचौड़ी की दुकान लगा रहा है, चाट की टिक्की and all that stuff, that is unorganized. So how would you calculate the contribution of unorganized into GDP? So उसके लिए approximation करा जाता है. Now that is very hard to do and there is always a mismatch, so to say. Okay. Now what about stock market? Well, stock market captures data from the organized sector only. जैसे for example, ITC is an organized sector space. It is listed on Nifty 50. Similarly, HUL, HDFC Bank वगैरह वो सारी कंपनियां are what? They are organized sector space. Now the growth rate of organized sector space is actually have been good, right, compared to like the growth rate of unorganized sector. इसलिए आपको लग भी रहा होगा कि जो rich are getting richer. Why? Because of this phenomena. Okay, so therefore the stock market is running faster compared to the unorganized sector space, and therefore stock market is running faster than the GDP of the country. Okay, so this is the mathematical / economics explanation. This is point one. Now using this analysis, what can we predict? Okay, so सबसे पहले तो आप approximation पढ़ लो that where will GDP be in the next 10 years. So if you use Google, you will get the data that Center for Economic and Business Research, CEBR, has predicted that by 2035 we will be a $10 trillion economy. Right now we are at 4 trillion. So from 4 trillion we will go to $10 trillion, or how much? 2.5 times. So जो आपका Nifty 50 है या whatever, right? So Nifty 50 right now is at 23,000 and इसको अगर आप 2.5 भी कर दो, in fact 2.5 नहीं करना चाहिए. If we go by the previous math, this will be at least 3 to 4 times, right? So 3 times पकड़ लो. So how much would this be? This will be close to 70,000 Nifty. Or in another words, to process this, how can you think कि भाई देखो, अगर आज आपका portfolio is at 10 lakh and it almost triples by 2035, then how much will that become? This will become 30 lakh. So this is the potential gain that you can make. Okay, then comes a natural question कि Akshat, are you becoming very bullish कि भाई GDP बढ़ती चली जाएगी, under no circumstances will it fall, this that stuff, क्या इतना अच्छा काम हो रहा है? I don't know about all that. Okay, what I will simply say is that see, so GDP can grow in real terms, GDP can grow in fake terms. Now fake terms का मतलब होता है कि भाई inflation oriented growth. For example, at one point in time, Zimbabwe's stock market was the best best performing stock market in the world. And unki economy was dabba goal. Why? Because their stock market was driven by inflation. Now, without boring you, see, will India grow from $4 trillion to $10 trillion in the next 10 years? My answer is yes, it should happen that way. How much it will be due to inflation versus real growth, that remains to be seen. But in either of the circumstances, the stock market will run at that same pace. So this is the first key point. I don't want to start the politics here. You guys make your bet. इसमें आपने क्या करना है? Okay. So this is literally point number one, that if you're just sitting on the sidelines doing nothing, it will be bad for you. You will miss this bus because this bus is running. It will not stop from that perspective. This is the first central key point that I will like to explain. The second central key point that I would like to explain is जब आपका natural सा सवाल आएगा कि यार see Nifty is at here, right? 23,000 के आसपास, okay? And I have a lot of bulk cash. For example, I have 1 crore rupee with me, or I have like 10 lakh rupee with me, or I have like 50 lakh rupee with me. Should I invest in one go? What should I do? Okay, so this brings us to the concept of net worth. See, let me put it this way, that for example, if let's say my net worth, hypothetically speaking, is 10 crore, okay, and I have 1 crore rupee, right, which is free with me right now, and I'm making this decision here कि यार मैं यहाँ पे कर दूँ कि नहीं करूँ. See, this is not really a bulk investment for me, okay. Bulk investment would be that you are making somewhere around like 20% of your net worth or above investing in that, okay. So this amount is pretty much pointless. It all comes down to your net worth. If your net worth is very very small, let's say कि 10 लाख ही है, and आपने decision ले लिया कि 5 लाख मैं यहाँ पे एकदम से कर दूँ, well, that you are investing a significant portion of your net worth. So anyways, coming back and putting logic to this, see, I will just use an example that, okay, मान के चलो that Akshat's net worth is 10 crore rupee, okay, and I have 2 crore rupee lying freely. Now, should I go and invest here, okay, at this juncture very very quickly? The short answer is that it depends. It depends on where my 80% of rest of my net worth is. For example, if you would have been following my channel for the last 2-3 years, you would have seen that I have been mostly invested in the market. मेरा अच्छा भर भर के profit भी हुआ है इस चीज से. तो definitely 80% of my net worth is already in the stock market. So if that is indeed the case, then I need to use this fund sensibly. I cannot go and invest at market all time high here just thinking, you know what, अगले 10 सालों में the GDP is going to become like this and therefore my money ये भी भाई double हो जाना चाहिए and triple हो जाना चाहिए and all that stuff. No, okay. This is very very important consideration, that how much of it is already invested by me up until this point. On the flip side, आप मान के चलो कि भाई your net worth is 10 crores, okay, and you have 0% investment in the market. Should you do bulk investing tomorrow? Most likely yes, okay. You should invest. You should not get scared about like, you know, अगले एक महीने में क्या होने वाला है, अगले 6 महीने में क्या होने वाला है and all that stuff. You should start building your portfolio. At least if you're young, under 30, 35, 40, then I would say that, you know what, you at least need to do something called as real inflation targeting or segmental inflation targeting, which brings me to point number 3, that segmental inflation targeting का मतलब क्या होता है? जैसे मान के चलो that for you in your segment the cost of healthcare is rising, cost of education is rising, so at least for you the inflation in the economy will be 10% plus. So what becomes your goal? The goal becomes that you increase your net worth, or at least जो भी आपके पास liquid asset है, at least grow it by more than 10%. So यहाँ पे आपको करना क्या चाहिए? आपके 10 करोड़ है, you have never invested in the market, 0% है आपकी. So your first step should be कि यार मैं फटाफट 5 CR of my liquid investment, where can I invest it safely and where will it give me at least a 10% plus return on per year CAGR basis? I am okay leaving this 5 CR for the next 3 to 4 years. Well, the short answer becomes that you go and you can definitely do bulk investing. इसको थोड़ा सोच समझ के करना, एकदम से सारा मत कर देना. But see, your idea is that you do this very very quickly and get to that stage quick. So this entire question of bulk investing, I hope it gave you some clarity. Okay. Now then comes that, okay, I am like you, that I have invested like 80% of my money. My major portfolio is already built. I still have this 2 crore or 20% of my net worth lying around somewhere. Now then what should I do? Should I just let this money die, right, and just FD करा के रख दूँ इसकी? No, FD serves a emergency पर्पस कि भाई आपने थोड़ा बहुत पैसा करा लिया, राइट, वॉट एवर 6 months 7 months ऑफ एक्सपेंसेस इज एंड यू आर डन विद इट. ओके, रेस्ट ऑफ द मनी, राइट, फॉर एग्जाम्पल जैसे 2 करोड़ है, राइट, मेरे महीने के खर्चे मस्ट बी लाइक 2 lakhs और समथिंग, राइट, सो 24 lakh FD करा ली, बाकी सारी 1.75 CR. अब now I cannot put this in FD, no. Now what should I rather do with this? I should at least try to grow this near my segmental inflation rate, which is 10%. So how can I easily do it? Okay, one simple option is that I go and buy corporate bonds, because corporate bonds can give me somewhere around 9 to 11% safely, right, and I can definitely do that. Again, you can go and check the links in the description box. I have laid out some corporate bonds that you could consider investing. In the interest of full transparency, I am an angel investor in Incred Money, the app that I am recommending. So you can definitely go and check it out. It's not a push. I'm just suggesting one of the many possible options. One option is doing corporate bonds. Okay, आपको liquid debt fund पसंद है, आप liquid debt fund करा लो वगैरह वगैरह. So whatever you feel like, you guys do. This is an option that I am presenting to you. Okay, so I hope that this point is clear. So then comes the next critical point that okay, Akshat, I am not in that bulk zone. My ठीक-ठाक portfolio has already been built. My 60-70%, 80% net worth is already there in the market. I am doing a regular job. I am making like 1 lakh rupee, and out of this, every month I do 50,000 SIP. So what should I do with SIPs? Okay, see again going back to that chart, that if you take a look at Nifty is almost at its all-time high. So anyways, here you're doing 50,000 SIP technically. Okay, so should you do like step up SIP, step down SIP? I would suggest that you do step down SIP. Step down SIP का मतलब क्या होता है? Let's see, under usual circumstances आप 50,000 के 50,000 you used to invest in the market, 4-5 आपके म्यूचुअल फंड थे वगैरह वगैरह. Don't do the whole thing. Keep some opportunity cash with you. For example, you would have noticed that Mr. Warren Buffett has started building his cash positions. Some big investors have started building their cash position. Now, why is this cash position important? So देखो यार, basically अभी क्या है कि we are, if you look at the technicals, right? So हम लोग करीब करीब यहाँ पे हैं. Okay. So now we are at absolute peak, technically speaking. So technically this is not a buyer's market from here. Okay. Let it fall either till here. Okay. Or let the channel breakdown happen, or a consolidation might happen here. Who knows? It might fall like here. At some stage that 20% correction वगैरह वगैरह will come. It might happen that first the market runs up by 10% and then it corrects by 20%, or it might run up by 30% and then it corrects by like another 20%. So all those permutations, combinations keep on going. But whenever you find the market to be cheaper than 15-20% from its peak, that is a great time to bulk buy. Okay, so right now I would say that unless you are sitting on a lot of cash, have not built your portfolio much, then bulk buy कर लो, कोई issue नहीं है. So for SIP investors, it makes a lot of sense to do step down SIP, right, and wait for that 20% correction opportunity. I am also doing the same exactly, क्योंकि मेरा काफी पैसा लग चुका है. अब natural question आएगा कि यार अक्षत फिर तो what, ऐसा तो नहीं कि यार ये ऐसे चलता चला जाए यानी ब्रेकआउट ही हो जाए यहाँ पे, and then we are here, तब तो बस मिस हो गई and लुट गए पिट गए and all that stuff. भाई देखो, see, if 80% of my money has already been invested, right? For example, मैं आपको दिखाई देता हूँ. This is my mutual fund portfolio that I had built publicly in front of all of you. I'm sitting on healthy profits on this. This money is already invested. अच्छा खासा chunk of money है. My equity portfolio is much bigger than that. Much better returns, all that stuff. वो मैं publicly reveal नहीं कर सकता because the idea is not to give you guys FOMO. The idea is to help explain you the concepts. Basically, now if my 80% net worth is already invested, भाई अगर ऊपर बढ़ गया तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, right? I mean, I'm happy only that my net worth has gone up. Now, if it breaks down, तो भी कोई बात नहीं, ऐसा कोई रोना गाना क्या मचाना, right? I mean, we will go and invest more money there. So it's fine. So either way, we are going to win, right? So that's the bottom line, and that is how you will also become rich. Now, final 2-3 points. Number one, a lot of people will ask, अच्छा यार individual stocks बता दो, and individual stocks कुछ कर लें. See, all this boils down to how you are seeing your portfolio construction. What is it that you are thinking? What is your portfolio construction strategy? I teach all these things in my courses also. In case some of you are interested, please consider signing up. Feedback has been excellent. I would highly recommend you to check it out. At least listen to what people have to say. Everything is taught very, very practically, step by step manner. YouTube पर पढ़ा पाना is very, very difficult because I have to condense every video in 20-25 minutes, and वो ध्यान से सुनते नहीं है. So I run a 16-17 hour course where I teach live 16-17 hours over 2 weekends, and in one shot you will be able to at least understand the basics. Then you practice on Wisdom Match community for 1 year. उससे आपकी growth होगी. So if you're a serious investor who is putting in like more than 5-10 lakh rupees, it might make sense to check it out. Okay. So okay. Anyways, coming back. So there is a very good statement by Mr. Bhoinish Pabrai that I buy something which is hated. Okay. Or at least ऐसी चीज खरीदनी चाहिए where the focus is not there. Now let me give you an example. Okay. So take a look at PVR Inox. Okay. Now PVR Inox, I'm just using it as an example. What you will notice is that see, the stock is available at almost how many years old prices? Almost 8-year-old prices. Okay. And what about numbers कि यार कुछ गड़बड़ होगा इसमें and all that stuff. So अच्छा numbers भी check कर लेते हैं. So the company has done last 2 years of best ever revenues, right? इसके loss में अभी company, but please look at the fact that the losses are decreasing. Something similar had happened in Zomato, जहाँ से वो double हो गया था stock price. अभी मुझे पता है बहुत सारे लोग पीछे पड़ेंगे. Okay. On top of that, PVR Inox is a mid cap company, mid cap to small cap category में होगी है. Okay. Now आपको लगेगा कि यार इसमें debt बहुत ज़्यादा है. बिल्कुल है साहब, right? I mean, this is a problem. Okay. Now think about it, right? I mean, think about the business. That where did the problem for PVR Inox began? The problem was that in the last 3-4 years, especially after pandemic, the OTT platform started gaining a lot of traction. There was a lot of war between Jio Cinema, Prime and दुनिया भर के Netflix में वहाँ पे मारकाट मची हुई थी कि आप लोग अपने पासवर्ड शेयर कर देते हो, आपको ये नहीं करने देंगे, वो नहीं करने देंगे, right? So there was a lot of infighting within the OTT platform, and OTT platform was new, it was novel, people were running after it कि कौन ही जाएगा मूवी, कौन खाएगा 400 रुपए के पॉपकॉर्न, कौन पिएगा 500 रुपए की कोक, all that stuff. So people were hardly interested in this, and moreover pandemic, it just literally killed the business, right? So for example, here you will see this was the worst year, right from 3400 it has gone to like 280. Okay, now what has happened, right? In sitting in 2024, no one is even talking about OTT war and movie going war, all that stuff. So this industry has lost interest. No one is even bothered at looking at this industry. Everyone is thinking कि भाई आप तो EV करेंगे and solar करेंगे and that's it, and EV battery, artificial intelligence, machine learning, all that stuff. So as a result, people have forgotten the war between OTT platforms and movie cinema experience. Okay, now what is happening, right, from a customer viewpoint? Now if someone wants a movie experience, they want to go out with their friends, all that stuff, so where will they go? They will go here. Okay, and if someone just wants to relax, watch like Korean dramas and whatnot, they will watch it here. So what has happened is that there is a very clear customer segmentation that has happened. Okay, now अब आप बोलोगे कि नहीं यार ऐसे तो कभी कुछ होगा ही नहीं and all that stuff. नहीं, for example, if you go to South India, their customer behavior is very different. People prefer to see movies in theaters in South India. That is what the culture is. That is what many of my friends also do. If you're living in North India, then you might have a very different viewpoint about going to cinemas, right? So what I'm simply trying to tell you is that even if you don't believe in this narrative, then a simple question comes कि अच्छा, then how is it that the company is able to sell so much stuff for whatever? अब आप बोलोगे कि यार 400 रुपए की कोक बेच देते हैं, 400 rupees coke they sell. Why someone is buying it? No, that company must be doing something right in order to sell that 400 rupee coke, right, for whatever reasons. Okay, to cut the long story short, they have been able to increase their revenues. Eventually this will translate into better profit, because होता क्या है कि they took a lot of debt in order to make a lot of changes, be it in terms of their tech, be it in terms of consolidating operation or expanding to certain type of markets, making some pivotal changes, starting new businesses. For example, movie ticket business, अगर आपको partnership नहीं करनी है, आपको additional products बेचने हैं and all that stuff. So this money went into that. Now, are they becoming profitable over time? Yes, they are. Actually, if you take a look, it started with negative 123.07 EPS. धीरे होते होते it has become minus 3.26. So this is a solid stock which is present at a good time. Business is going nowhere. जितना भी OTT का होना था हो चुका. People will go to movie theaters whenever they feel like, and this they have already proven by getting good numbers in the last 2 years. And eventually this will turn profitable, right? And the moment this turns profitable, it will at least hit its previous peak. Okay, so this is the concept of buying something unloved, right? कि at least कुछ नहीं था यार इसमें, there is at least an opportunity of 70-80% gain if it just simply goes back to its previous height. Okay, so this is one such simple bet. अब आप बोलोगे कि यार ये तो आप risky stocks बता रहे हो and all that stuff. कोई बात नहीं, I keep on saying and telling you the story of HDFC Bank and all that stuff. आप उसके नंबर देख लो. Whichever company that you are picking at this juncture, be highly selective. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि you start running after trendy things. Now what is a trendy thing? For example, if you take a look at HAL, so अभी defense का बहुत बात हो रही थी that Hindustan Aeronautic Limited, and if you take a look at the stock price, okay, so for example the stock price went from roughly 554 rupees to almost 5,000. So now 10x growth तो हो ही गई है ना over the last 3-4 years. Okay, what about P? The stock is trading at its highest ever P. Now can it go even further? Now it can, but does it make business sense to buy these type of businesses right now? Now if you're buying it here, then you better expect कि भाई ये P 90 भी पहुंच जाएगा, 130 भी पहुंच जाएगा, and maybe हो सकता है हो जाए, right? I mean I cannot say that this will not happen. Markets can become highly irrational many a times, but there is no investment thesis because this is a extremely loved stock right now, and ऐसे stock में if the correction starts happening, you might struggle to come out. Okay, so therefore going by Mr. Moinish Pabrai's advice that hey, pick something which is hated and avoid something which is loved. This is very very important advice for us to keep in mind at this juncture. Final point that I will suggest you is that please make portfolio level decisions. For example, बहुत सारे लोग होते हैं कि यार अक्षत, you know what, you speak about like HDFC Bank every time and HDFC Bank is not running. भाई, HDFC Bank is not the only stock in my portfolio. Okay, it is like 5% of my portfolio. 95% of my portfolio comprises of other things. Okay, so ठीक है, 5-10% की bet for me is not working. But on the flip side, I have doubled my money in something like Zomato. I have doubled my money in like something like IDFC First Bank. I have doubled my money in Meta. I have doubled my money in SMCI or tripled my money in SMCI. So the point is that, hey, whatever non-growth is happening from here, it is getting compensated here. Okay. So therefore, you have to make portfolio level decisions. Final point is that always be aware of the opportunity cost of your money. For example, if let's say this month you could have invested 1 lakh, but you chose not to. Okay. Then next month you could have invested 1 lakh, but you chose not to. Next month, so मान के चलो कि this has become close to 1 year, nothing is happening, you are sitting at 12 lakhs, okay? Then you need to really ask yourself that, hey, what is the best use of this money for me right now? Should I now go and invest in the stock market? Should I not invest? So यहाँ पे आपको ये decisions यहाँ पे भी लेने पड़ते हैं, right? कि for example ऐसा नहीं कि if you're not investing this 1 lakh in the stock market, go and invest somewhere, right? For example, pick some basic bonds, okay? Or you could go and do liquid debt fund. So ऐसे को उसको फालतू मत पड़े रहने दो. That's my simple point, because then your money keeps on getting devalued, right? I mean, almost inflation in our segment will be 10%, people who are watching these videos. So it's important to not lose money through these investments. Very, very critical. Yeah. So that's the basic advice that I'll give you. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. If you did, do press the like button and I'll see you soon.